So we were intending to make landfall in Barbados because we had some friends there, and also another boat that we know was going there, and then we got a message on the sat phone from Chloe, probably like the morning we were making landfall, and saying that Barbados was going into lockdown. So we were like, shit. So we thought about other places, and St Vincent was always like, I think it was like quite high on the list because you have the kind of ability to go to the Grenadines as well, so it's not just one island, it's like lots of little islands. But we kind of went past Barbados and did a little flyby, and we went to an anchorage and we like stopped and had a swim and a cup of tea, which was really nice. But it wasn't like, there wasn't really many visiting boats there, and it just felt a little bit strange. And so we decided, so we just kept going. It was kind of strange because we were like, yeah, we've done it, and then we're like, right, should we sail some more then? Did another night and kind of half a day sailing, and came to St Vincent, and I think like as soon as we arrived here we were like 100% made the right call, because it's kind of sheltered. We're kind of behind this little island, and the main, like in between this little island and the mainland, in a quarantine anchorage, but it's like paradise. It's beautiful, clear water, snorkeling, palm tree, little islands nearby, kind of just really lovely. We're just waiting. I think we've been here for this is our 3rd day, and we've got probably another 3 days or so, or maybe 4, eating through the rest of our provisions. The meals are getting pretty funky and interesting. Everything's canned, and Harry's fresh bread is like the only kind of like treat that we've got at the moment, which is really good, really grateful for. And yeah, we're really excited to go. We've been ashore once for our test, but apart from that, it's like, yeah.
The anchorage is really nice. There's turtles.
Oh yeah,
turtles and birds, and we've been fishing at night as well, catching these little jacks, which are like pretty tasty. And also there's like pretty consistent waves across the bay, which we're kind of itching to go and surf. You can just about make them out from the anchorage. So yeah, looking forward to that. Praying for our results so we can just go and be free. So yeah, we've just been we spent the first few days enjoying. We didn't really leave the boat, to be honest, that much. We weren't really doing anything different to what we were doing in quarantine. Loads of snorkeling, but we saw there was the swell coming, so we were waiting around for that. And yeah, that hit on Sunday. So we moved the boat over to Blue Lagoon over here, like just a stone's throw from this little wave, and we've just been surfing every morning and evening since. It's been really good, a real treat. No one else on the island really surfs. Like, we bumped into one local and he said there was about 8 surfers on St Vincent, so it's always been empty, and just really fun peeling left-handers. We also went and checked out the interior of the island, so we hiked up the Vermont Trail, which was really cool. It's very green and pretty. And this morning we've just been for a surf, and then we're gonna put up the anchor and go and sail down to Beckway, which is about 6 miles away, which is another island, just for a bit of a change of scene. 'Cause now we're in St Vincent and the Grenadines. Now we're cleared in, we can cruise the Grenadines as well as St Vincent. So before Lily leaves to go back to the UK, we're going to go and go for a little explore. I think it's more snorkeling down there, but hopefully we'll find some waves as well.
We're at a little island, an uninhabited island behind Beckway. And there's no other boats here, it's very nice, and there's lots of coconut.
Yeah, it's a really nice anchorage, and the wind flies down the channels either side, but it's really sheltered in here. There's loads of fish. Yesterday we went ashore with, there was a couple of boats here yesterday. We went and got some coconuts, but also ended up picking loads of plastic up off the beach that had washed up. And we filled our sacks and got some coconuts and came back. Going back ashore to get more coconuts.
And then we're going to Tobago Keys.
And then we're gonna go to Tobago Keys.
Nice.
Here we've lashed together the dinghy oar and the boat hook to hook some coconuts.
Try and hook it and pull them down. Here, let me have a go.
It'd be good to get some like nushy ones.
Yeah.
Dry ones. It's the mother load. You can't see it, you're silhouetted.
We're anchored here in Tobago Keys, and this small group of islands is a nature reserve. It's part of St Vincent. We just can't get enough of how blue the water is here. Like, you look over the side of the boat and you can see the bottom so clearly. There's this big horseshoe reef that protects a lagoon and the anchorage as well, and there's a load of seagrass inside, and that is a nesting site for green turtles. So as soon as you jump in the water, you pretty much see a turtle straight away, and there's stingrays as well and all sorts of amazing reef fish. It's a really special place. we're feeling very, very grateful to be here. We're making the most of our final few days together before we have to go back to St Vincent to drop Lily off at the airport.
Well, it's been an eventful 24 hours since we left. Where do I even start? So we left Tobago Keys to sail north to St Vincent, right? Because Lily's flying home and Beth and Tegan are joining the boat. So we didn't really have a choice, and we sort of had to go weather dependent, which is always a bad idea on a sailing boat. Mother Nature always shows you who's in control, and that's pretty much what happened, because we didn't have Wi-Fi like when we were sailing around these islands, but then we managed to get some like right on the last day. So we looked at the wind and it was quite strong trade winds, like 25 knots, and from quite a northerly direction. So we knew that we were going to have to sail upwind into quite strong winds the whole way, which was fine. So we left and we did that, and we got pretty close to St Vincent, like within 8 miles, and it was a 30-mile passage, and it was wet, like really wet, and there were big waves breaking over the boat, but we did it in okay time. But then we sailed into the lee of the island, or into a little bit of the wind shadow, and we noticed that there was like a current that was carrying us like around 2 knots, like sometimes more, away from the island, away from where we wanted to go. So we were sailing against not only the wind and the swell and this little bit of current, and then we dropped off into this wind shadow, and the current like dragged us further into the wind shadow. We basically spent the whole night with no wind, just watching St Vincent like fade away into the horizon, and it was really horrible because we were just going backwards at like 2 knots. And then at some point, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, we picked up a bit of wind, and we managed to like close haul over to Betquay, which is like where we are now, and we're gonna have another go at sailing across the channel, which is like racing with current and wind and swell, and it's all just going that way, and we need to go across it. And in the process we completely destroyed the Genoa trying to sail upwind, and put 2 rips in the mainsail, and also the fuel pump at the engine stopped working, so we could only really use that for like 10 or 20 minutes. So it was, for a 30-mile sail, it's put like quite a hard toll on Elixir, I think, and we're all really tired because we've been sailing upwind. But the plan is to like follow the coastline of Betquay like as far to the east as we can go, so that when we do cross this channel between the 2 islands, we're like not going upwind, we're sort of like a bit more of a reach. But that's the plan. I don't really know how it's going to work. Hopefully, I mean, we have to get in today because Lily has got to have a COVID test and fly on a plane, so we have to really. It's funny how it's so easy to go with the trade winds, but it's so hard to go against them. I don't like how there's so much white water in, like I can see in this channel.
Yeah. It was a really challenging last sail back from Tobago Keys, and I felt like the boat was telling me that she didn't want me to leave, and she was having a big strop because everything was breaking, and she just wouldn't let us go to where we wanted to go to. But in a way it feels like kind of, sometimes those hard sails feel like when you get there it's like feels better than like just an easy sail, because it gave me a bit of like, I feel like had I not had that last hard sail I would have been like, oh, sailing's so easy, like you just like float along and the wind blows you along, it's really easy, like you just get where you want to go. And now actually it's kind of like balance things out again. I'm like, it gives you that like respect again and being like, alright, anything can happen.
Yeah.
In about 10 minutes I'm gonna fly home. Well, I'm gonna go get my taxi and fly home, and it feels very emotional.
It's very emotional.
It's been really emotional. It's been such a like mega whirlwind of adventure.
What's the highlight of the last 3 months?
I think just like, I don't know, the transat, like just as an experience is like obviously just the main thing, like that's the main takeaway, is like having done that, because everything else is like, I guess, achievable in some way, like coming to the Caribbean and enjoying like the sun and the, you know, nice beaches and like having a holiday, like you can do that, but doing the transat was something so much bigger than just like going on holiday. So I think that's why it's like, it seems kind of strange to be like, oh, I'm leaving, and I feel really emotional, but like actually it's more about the fact that it's like we've done this massive thing that we like prepared for so long, then got so close to it, and then got taken away from us with COVID, and then to have like actually just done it, because I remember that feeling for so long of being like, oh my god, like we're never gonna get there, like we're just waiting to do this. So it feels like just like really good, and that is like just like the highlight is having done that, and just like all the like funny stuff, like just like I feel like I'm just gonna look back on it and just laugh at the whole situation and the whole thing, because it was just like one big it was like, even if there was a really serious like big thing to do, the whole thing like felt light and easy. Overall 10 out of 10. I'm gonna miss everyone, gonna miss the boat so much, but I'm gonna be back.
We're gonna miss you too.
Don't, you're trying to make me cry.
Okay, see you later.